We have ignition sequence start. The engines are on. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
It makes people feel good to say they're successful, but productive is so much better.
What does a win look like for you? If you don't know what a win looks like for you, then you're hoping to get lucky, and we all know hope's not a strategy.
If you focus on money, you're never going to have any. And if you focus on people, you'll have all the money you need.
I think the biggest thing is just staying consistent and communicating with your clients with what's going on. If it's bad news, give them the bad news. If it's good news, give them the good news, but you can't be afraid of telling them.
Making real estate simple. That's it.
All systems are go. Over.
What's up? It's Sean Miku, the CEO and founder of simpliHŌM. Welcome back to our podcast. Today I'm joined by Santana Jones and Enrique Selman. Enrique and I go way back. We OGs. And Santana is also an OG at this point. It's been a minute. Like, what, two years maybe?
This is my second year.
Second year? Yeah. And then Enrique and I go back before the company. Like, well, actually we go like back. Like 2013.
Yeah, before
like,
we even did real estate.
Yeah, when I left the AT&T job on a stretcher.
Yeah.
With anxiety and all that crap.
Yeah, and panic attacks used to have.
Panic attacks, yep. And then I got into real estate and then convinced Enrique to get in real estate. Mm-hmm. And pulled a Wolf of Wall Street on him, showed him a check that I hadn't cashed.
That's what it was.
He was like, "Show me the money." I was like, "Hang on, I got a check I haven't deposited."
Like, I'm making this much a month. I was like, "Man, you show me a paycheck stuff with that much a month, I come work with you."
So how much was his check?
It was like 17 grand or something.
17,000.
Yeah. But for me, like for us at the time, it was like may as well have been $1 million,
Man,
you know. So you guys have been pretty visible, like on socials and everything. You guys did a video with Grant, who we have no Grant cam still, but he's over there hiding in the corner. And you guys did a video about your journey with building in Nashville. And did you guys meet here or did you meet outside of the company?
We met here at the office.
Yeah,
we met at the office.
Yeah. Orientation day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. And I knew Enrique's goal from the beginning was like, I want to get into flipping. I want to get into building. I don't know if have you picked a favorite yet between flipping and building?
I think I like the building better. It takes longer, but I mean, I'm not afraid of flips, but if it's just the right deal that's simple and easy, I've learned that. I will never do a flip again. It has to do major structural, work and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then was your aspiration always to get in in the investing, developing side, or just kind of happened?
It changes every day.
Yeah, that's true. It's real estate.
Yeah. I think when I saw Enrique's video, that kind of inspired something that was already in me to actually attempt to do it. So
I got you.
Yeah.
Like the testimonial video that you did.
Yeah, it was about flipping.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. How long have you been in the real estate game, Santana?
Ooh, this is like, I started, my first open house was when Kobe's helicopter went down. So what's that? 3 years?
2020.
Like the day of?
It was the day of.
That's
like
2020.
Yeah.
So you left that open house in tears, right?
Man,
I'll
always remember it.
It pisses me off because he should still be alive.
Yeah.
Like that pilot made some pilot to pilot. That pilot,
you know what
mistakes.
could have been done.
Yeah, he could have, not flown. That would have been cool. But so that was 2020.
2020. Yeah.
God, it's been that long since Kobe died.
Yeah, 3 years.
Jeez.
Time flies by.
Yeah.
And then you're up on year six.
Yeah.
Dang.
All right.
That's wild.
It is.
All right. So what inspired you guys to like co-invest in this deal? Like, did you do any flips before you just went in on the build?
No.
Y'all were just like, we're just going to go all in?
Yeah.
So
all right.
Originally, it was a client who was trying to find somebody to buy her property. It was old wiring. It was like 1940 built. And I thought about doing it myself, but I remember a conversation me and Enrique had over a cup of coffee. And I felt like the amount of money that I was going to spend on the flip, I might as well put that money into partner with somebody and make a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
fair. Okay.
Yeah.
And your background is a school teacher, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Sales. All kinds of sales.
All the sales.
All the sales.
All the sales. Yeah.
Just not a good employee.
Yeah, well, same. I'm a terrible employee. I hope I'm a decent employer, but I can't even answer that question. So, and if I'm bad, don't tell anybody, Grant. But then, okay, so you had this opportunity come up. There's obviously, when did you guys start on this?
Oh man, was that?
September 21?
Yeah. Yeah, we purchased it September 21. Was it demolished the beginning of 20?
Yeah, no, it was demolished in November of 21.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We tore the house down, and then from there, it took us like 6 months to get permits.
God.
Yeah, Metro.
Yeah. Everything was
6
shut down.
months for permits?
6 months to get
COVID.
permits, man. Because of COVID, they were just behind on.
So it wasn't even
everything.
just like supply chain problems on like materials. It was supply chain on
Yeah, waiting on Metro.
government workers.
Yeah.
Nobody was in the office.
Yeah,
That's
for them to get stuff
wild,
done, and and then we got through some of the permits, and we got to the point where the permit that was the most difficult was stormwater and sewer, and they just kept making us come back with these different things that we had to do or change this, and then they go to one person, have to go back to another person, and have to go all the way back through. So and that's why it just took as long as it took. But
Yeah. So you mentioned there was something that you guys had met for coffee or something. There was something that like lodged into your brain about Enrique as a potential partner for this opportunity. What was it? Like, what was the moment that you said, "Hey, I'm going to call him and we're going to do this"?
When the video was showing, and he walked in the room, and I think there was like a spotlight that just followed him, and I was like, "That's Enrique. That's the guy in the video." And I was like, "I'm gonna talk to him after the orientation." Did we talk after the orientation?
We
Like
talked
immediately
yeah.
after, and then
I don't know why I was here that day. I just happened to show up.
Random drop by. Yeah.
yeah. So it just seemed like everything worked. Like the inspiration was there. He came in, we spoke, and eventually the opportunity would show up, and it did. And I just felt like it had to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Was it a tough sell, or were you like pretty much on board from the get go?
No, I was on board from the get go when he showed me the property and told me how much he was going to be able to sell it for, and then I walked through and I was like, okay, well we could go ahead and do a rehab and do a flip on it. At first, I was thinking about that. Then I started looking at it. I was like, I don't know. Remember last time I did one of these super complicated flips where you got to do some real structural and all this other stuff. I was like, Then I looked up the property and realized, it was zoned for being able to build two. So I said, you know what, let's just tear this down and just build two if the numbers work. And they did. So
it's September of 21. You guys have this conversation. You take down the property. You're going into this partnership together. You like know each other, but like not probably in the eyes of like business, probably not well enough to be partnering in something, right?
Right.
But you're like, screw it, let's try it, right?
Yeah.
And then it takes you 6 months to get through codes. Meanwhile, interest rates are skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
Economic conditions are deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
What did that feel like?
It was scary.
Man,
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know whether to panic, bail, do what. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Because when we got into it, when I said, okay, we're going to do a two build, at the time I said I didn't know how I was going to get the money to get it done. But I've always been like, you know what, forget it, just go do it, get the deal under contract and figure out how to get the money. I mean, you've always told me a long time ago, there's money everywhere. There's money out there. Just, go out there and get it. So that mindset, I was like, I'll figure out how to get the money. Instead of saying, I can't do this. How can I do this? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we found a way. And then, like you said, interest payments coming in over those 6 months while we're waiting to get our permits. And then the market changed. And ended like Q3 around there, like September or somewhere around there. 22?
Well, yeah. Like peak was in May.
May, yeah. So May was the peak. So we really could have been done in May because it should have been done. It should have been done. Our
You like
builder,
had perfect timing.
Except the permits, because our builder builds pretty fast. I mean, he built the house in 5 months?
Yeah,
they were flying. Like once you finally got started, they were flying.
Yeah. So
with all of the stuff, you guys have sold one, right?
Officially, yeah.
Officially,
and then you've got the other one closing in a week, right? Yeah. So with all that being said, you guys, you've learned probably a ton, I would imagine. Do you feel that has streamlined what you've learned? Has that streamlined the process for you to go do it better next time?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the current economic climate is one that'll keep you guys out of the game, or are you guys gonna go do something different?
I mean, I'm not gonna do anything different. This is it. This is what I do. I do real estate. You know, all kinds of different real estate.
I love that pivot. That was so great.
That's what I do. So like, no, I'm not. I've already jumped off the porch. I'm like, I'm out here.
Yeah.
Like, there's no going back to anything else. So, yeah, you know, so I'm always going to be doing this. I might, you know, diversify and do some other things, invest in other ways, but real estate's always going to be the bread and butter, period. So I just feel like with the way the market is now and things are starting to turn, I'm starting to see a lot more showings, a lot more, you know, I got a multiple offer on one, on a listing I've had that's been sitting for like 6 months. And now just the other day, we got multiple offers on it. Yeah. So it's showing.
And that used to be normal though.
Yeah, it did.
Right? Like you'd be 100 days on market and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we got a multiple offer. Bullshit, you don't have a multiple offer. Yeah, we
Let
do.
me see it. So yeah, so I mean, I just feel like we can still continue to move forward doing this and doing new construction and because there's still not enough inventory. I don't believe that, you know, we were talking about it the other day. So there's still going to be opportunity.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Now the inventory problem, I would argue that it's a sub market by market, right? Like
case by case.
Under X price point that you've got no inventory. Between X and Y, you probably have maybe almost a buyer's market. You know, in certain the folks that were building like the short-term rentals that were landing between like 700 and $1 million, like I feel like there might be potential for an abundance of those, but I could be wrong. I'm not out there every day. What do you think?
An abundance as far as
like too much inventory?
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of them sitting. I remember when those would go.
Yeah, they would go like you'd whisper about it. And it's like sold.
And definitely certain areas.
Yeah.
Like Clarksville, I mean, there's an abundance. It's too many homes.
And Clarksville's been a buyer's market, in my opinion. It's been a buyer's market for the last several years.
Yeah.
But there was no war for 4 years. So without war, though, I mean, seriously though,
that's true.
being a market with a military base, I mean, they rotate through, and when there's war, they like bring all the soldiers in for 101st, and there hasn't been until recently. So now Enrique is a unicorn, born and raised in Nashville.
No.
What?
I'm born and raised.
No, I'm sorry. You've been here forever. Grew up here.
Yeah,
not born. My bad. Enrique doesn't like cold weather because he's actually from Panama.
Yes.
Not Panama City Beach for all you Tennesseans. And then you're from
Joliet. I say Chicago because no one knows where Joliet is. Yeah.
Okay.
Suburb.
Grant's like, I know where that is.
Yeah. Grant's from there. He's from the same area.
So seeing the growth in Nashville, seeing all the changes, seeing everything that's happening, do you still feel confident that Nashville is going to remain the hot spot that it's been for the last 10 years?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Why?
I mean, people are still moving here. Businesses are still going up. I mean, you see it. I see it. We all see it downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, on the outskirts, they're building companies. I think the film industry is coming out to White House.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree. Yeah. People are still moving. We're still getting, 80 to 100 people a day. It's not slowing down in that regard. Companies, businesses, tech, all kinds of stuff is still coming here. Cranes are still up everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and the good news, all the other states are still making really crappy decisions, which are still making people flow out, right? Like, it is what it is. So, all right, let's step back into the partnership aspect. You guys go into this thing, you've got this opportunity, you've got wild shifting economic conditions, you've got a government process that's slowing everything down. Did you guys clearly determine who's responsible for what from the get-go, or was there just kind of like a natural split based off of personality that like, hey, I'm going to manage this and you're going to manage that, or how are responsibilities cut up?
I don't know if it was like clear cut, but I think we definitely like assigned certain things. Like I did the main listing, and Enrique, he allowed me to deal with people until I couldn't deal with people. It got to a point, and I'm a very patient person, and it got to a point where my patience was really being tested. That's when Enrique came in. I'll tell you this story real quick. Good cop, bad cop. Who would you think would be the good cop?
I mean, I would probably put you as the good cop, frankly, usually.
I thought I was the good cop too. And then,
But also, I think Enrique and I have done good cop, bad cop, and he was the good cop.
oh my goodness, I had no clue I was going to be the bad cop, but he got on the phone with this person and he's totally flipped it up. He was patient, calm, responsive. I was like, oh man. So I look like the bad guy, but I went into the role. We had to do it. We had to get the deal done. So that was one way we did it. Yeah.
Literally, we just played good cop, bad cop like a month and a half ago. And I got on the phone being the good cop and I ended the phone as the bad cop and just destroyed the entire thing. So, we make mistakes. Yeah. Things happen.
It happens.
Okay. So there was no clear direction. It was just kind of like you guys just went by feel.
Yeah. And we communicated a lot. Like I think in the beginning we were trying to feel each other out. Like knowing his temperament, he was filling out my temperament. We never really got to hang a lot. And so eventually we started, meshing and understanding each other, how we flow. Again, like I'm not the person you see on Instagram all the time. He's not the person you see on Instagram. We had to know each other on a more personal level to make this thing work. And I think we work pretty well.
Yeah, I think probably one of the best partners I've had, because it's really just about we trust each other. So that trust makes it easy where no one's feeling like they're stepping on anyone's toes or they're being pulled in a certain way. Like, we're able to be on the same page. And like you said, communication was the main thing. So constantly talking with each other and letting each other know what's kind of going on. And Santana just super laid back, and I'm pretty laid back, until I feel like you kind of trying to disrespect me. Then,
then he types the email and doesn't send
it. So we both, so it worked out. I had more experience in the development side, so he kind of deferred to me on certain things, and I appreciated that he knew what he knew, and what he didn't know, he would defer to me and trust me that I'm gonna get the right answer. So I feel like it's important in partnerships.
Yeah. So if you've got someone out there right now who's listening, they're like, man, my goal is to get into this investment development side, and I want to form a partnership with someone. What would you say? What were the tripping points, like the obstacles that you guys encountered that people should look out for? And then second, what would be some advice that you would give to those folks who are entering a partnership for real estate development for the first time, knowing what you know?
It's a loaded question.
I know there's a lot.
Ooh, I think first of all, just to know who you're dealing with, know something about the person. Again, like you can get too wrapped up into the whole idea of doing a development, and then you forget about the little nuances that make the success of it, a development, the budget. Like again, Enrique knew a lot of the builders, and he knew a lot about like the first steps to building a home. Those things I had to kind of like lean on him for. But again, I think, what do you think?
I think it's mainly you want to just find somebody that you can mesh with, and that they, whatever weaknesses you have, and look at the strengths and weaknesses. Who's stronger here? Who's weaker here? And then y'all kind of work through that. Also have a clear understanding of the partnership and how it's going to go. If y'all decide you're going to do an LLC together, do that, get everything in writing and together that way. And also just try to figure out what the main goal is at the end. Is this a one-off thing? Is this something I want to continue to do? Because if that, you want to go about it differently. But main thing is just communication and being able to trust the person you're dealing with and getting to know who they are and kind of how they work, so nobody's feeling like I'm doing too much of this, I'm not doing enough, this person's not helping, what are they bringing to the table type situation. So that's the most important thing. I think communication, understand who you're dealing with, and then just being straightforward and honest with each other all the time.
Yeah, and I think also, like, don't be afraid to put an agreement on paper.
Yeah.
Like, that just makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Builds a relationship a little bit better.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that. Make sure you're adding in an attorney on the stuff to make sure that you're, like, clear from the get-go. Of course, I live in a world of attorneys, which is annoying, frankly, but I actually texted my attorney the other day and I was like, I swear to God, like, I love you to death, but attorney's job is just to overcomplicate literally everything.
Until you know.
I can't do anything without you guys being like, well, what about this? And what about that? Like, what about it? I don't care. Screw it. With future developments, Nashville is rapidly growing. However, the affordability is rapidly shrinking. Mm-hmm. Positive is, I know interest rates have fallen pretty largely. Mm-hmm. I heard today that they're in the mid to upper fives. which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Like excellent. If we could just stay right there, at like 5.5, 5'8", fantastic.
Yep.
I don't know. Obviously, it'd be great if we did, but who knows? But you know, having that fall off of 7.5 in November is tremendous. But you know, I have this conversation with people a lot about the affordability, kind of like this affordability radius, if you will. And so it used to be that like inside of the 440 loop was like the relatively unaffordable inside of it, and then outside of the 440 loop was affordable. Now I would argue that the affordability loop is expanded. So now you have like hyper non-affordable downtown within the 440 loop. And then you have like not really affordable between the 440 and 840. And you got to get outside of the 840 loop and the imaginary northern 840 loop in order to reach affordability. So with your vision for what you guys aspire to do in future development, do you intend to stay inside of Nashville, knowing that there are affordability challenges, there's land availability challenges, there's cost of land challenges, et cetera, which naturally lead to a higher end product just for numbers' sake? Or do you expect that you'll kind of venture outside of that?
Me, I mean, Nashville's home. I mean, this is my city. I don't see, I mean, I never say never, but I'm really just mainly just focusing on Nashville because I know it so well. I know all the neighborhoods well. You name a zip code, I know exactly where it is. You name a street, I know what side of town it's on. Like, and I realized that the other day. I was like, I don't know, like, just from just being here so long and then doing real estate and being around and driving and doing all this stuff. But so I mean, I could see potentially going outside of there, and you know, if it's the right deal, you know, I'm not gonna shy away from it. But for the most part, I kind of can. You know, had my focus mainly just in Nashville, in the core 440 loop, or a little bit outside of it. Yeah. You know.
I would love to expand. I want to be all over. I want to be worldwide, Mr. Worldwide.
All right, Mr. Worldwide. I see you. So I want you guys to give like a little snippet of like who you are, how you got started, and like when you realized that getting into the investment side of real estate was something that you aspired to do. I tell my version of Enrique's story a lot. And I don't like, we've known each other for so long that like, for me, I always just go back to when Enrique got fired from selling hearing aids over the phone, which in and of itself is a funny job, selling hearing aids over the phone.
What?
But I can't hear you. Exactly.
See?
I'm going to send you some.
Right. It's the easiest sale ever.
But he called me that night and was terrified. And you got a single dad, 2 kids to take care of, and goals and aspirations. And then you watch your income source just like gone. And the first, he called me and I was like, all right, cool. Meet me at the bar. And we went to, oh man, where did we go? It was in Smyrna.
It was Smyrna? Yeah.
Cheddar's?
Cheddar's, I think it was.
It's Cheddar's, yeah. In Smyrna, we sat there and it was just one of those like moments of, hey, this biggest fear can be your biggest opportunity. And you took hold of it and ran. Like, it hasn't been easy. You've had a lot of moments of like, oh God,
right,
what am I doing? But at the same time, like, you had a goal 5 years ago of flipping houses and building houses, and here you are living your dream. And as an aside, it's very rare that when you're living the dream that it feels like you're living the dream.
Yeah.
Because like you have this idea of how the dream is going to feel when you get there, and then you realize that you're there because you don't actually ever look up. You're just like work.
Yeah.
And then one day you're like, damn, I'm living my dream. It feels like work and stress. Holy crap. But can you give, we'll start with Enrique. Can you give a little bit about that backstory and like what triggered you to want to get into real estate investing?
So for me, that was always the goal from the beginning. When I first wanted to get into real estate, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and I was driving to Chicago to see my now ex-girlfriend. She lived out there, so I'm driving out there to go see her, and I'm listening to the book on an audiobook, and like my mind was just like, damn, they lied to it. They have lied to it. We've been bamboozled. And so it just like blew my mind. I was like, how come I didn't learn this stuff in school? Like, why didn't they teach me stuff? Why my parents didn't teach me this stuff? You know, I was kind of resentful at the beginning. Like, why didn't y'all teach me? Like, they didn't know. You know, you can only, you know, teach what you know for the most part. So read that book and maybe want to research other books of him. And, you know, a lot of his wealth is in real estate. So we talked a lot about real estate investing and things like that in there. So I started reading other books on real estate investing and started listening to podcasts, Bigger Pockets.
Yeah, Bigger Pockets.
Listen to like every episode at the time from like when they started all the way up to, you know, I think it was like 100 episodes. So I'm listening to all that, getting just all this knowledge and information. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I get an email about Robert Kiyosaki's coming to Nashville for one of these golden ticket situation like that BS. So I'm like, okay, and like,
the BS.
Yeah, like, they're gonna, you know, teach you this class or whatever. I'm like, okay, so I sign up for the class. I don't really have any money, so I just put my, you know, little money I had, pay for the class, go to the first thing. Then when you get in the class, like, well, then we have another weekend class, and pay for this. Then I'm
it's
like,
only $5,000.
Yeah, so it was like at the time it was like maybe like $600 or whatever. So I took credit card, boom, paid it, went. And so I go to that, and you know, you're in there with these gurus, and they're trying to tell you and gas you up, and you all hype like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna teach you, and then they tell you it's gonna cost like $30,000-$40,000 to get this, you know, 8-week whatever class, and within that time you'll get your first deal, and you'll make double what you made, what you put in, and da 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 da. So they had me sold. Yeah, they sales because they get to your whole. Oh yeah, you know, they touch on your heartstrings and like, you know, and you make you feel like, you know, you're able to do this and you can do it and da 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 and show all these videos. So yeah, so I was almost there. I was going to find a way to get this $30,000 so I can get into this program. So I tell my dad about it, and he's like, you know, son, I don't know. I don't think, you know, you really need to spend that kind of money to learn these type of. I'm pretty sure there's a way you can learn that. Like, and I'm like, well, you don't know. So I'm pissed at him. I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Your mindset. You don't know. Go off on my dad. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know. So after that, then my cousin calls me and he's like, hey, my older cousin, he's like a mentor to me. He's like, hey, why don't you just go ahead and get your real estate license? You know, learn real estate in Nashville. Get, you know, do that, all that. The same day, the day after, I run into Sean at Bar Louie in Murfreesboro. Yeah. And he's leaving out. I'm coming in. He's like, oh man, what's going on? Da, da, da. I'm like, what you been up to? Da, da, da. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm doing real estate now. You know, I work for so and so, Remax. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm actually thinking about getting my license. Well, man, if you get your license, man, you can come work for me. Like, man, let's go get coffee or hang out, catch up. You know, I'm making like $30,000 a month. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, he capped me. He making $30,000 a month. So that was
the bar flexes. God, I lived at Bar Louie back then. Oh my God,
I know, right? So he leaves, and then that was that. And then, you know, we go have lunch at the GOAT, and he tells me about, you know, Remax, tells me about the team, and I was like, okay, I'm finishing up school. I have my license. You know, like some time's gone by, and then we go. I said, I'm finished school. I'll take the test, and I'll have my license probably next week. So I was like, okay, I'm going to join the team. But even though I got my real estate license to be a realtor.
The team.
Remember the Strong Group?
Yeah, it was me, Enrique, Jess.
And your mom.
And my mom. Oh, wow. That was it. That was the whole team.
That was the team. OG, triple OG, that's why I said that.
Yeah. What year was this?
17?
17.
Yeah, 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I got my license because I know I needed to learn, you know, how to be a realtor and understand the market, and it would help me learn better. So, in the meantime, you know, I knew I wanted to do real estate investing, but I just had to get into it first that way. And I told Sean that from the beginning. So, I just feel like that was kind of just always, there was never like a click moment in my realtor journey where I was like, okay, now I want to do this. Like that was always
just been the journey.
The journey. Yeah. Find out a way to do it. You know, I've learned all this stuff. I read all these books and listened to all these podcasts. I started going to these investor meetups. I would do that, like, because people ask me all the time, like people who want to like kind of maybe get some mentoring from me, or like, you know, kind of get some like, so how do I like, you know, get into like, how do I do kind of what you do? Like, can I like shadow you and blah? I'm like, man, it's gonna be boring. Like, you're really not. I mean, you can, but, and I always tell them, I need you to invest in yourself first, because I think that's kind of what I did in the beginning. I mean,
foundation. You
know, invest in myself, read as much as I could, listen to these podcasts, trying to, and then work on changing my mindset to get into doing this, and reading other books on mindset and that, like, you know, you gave me some different books that I should read, and I started doing that, and that opened up my mind to other things. So, like I said, you know, I did go all over the place, but in the beginning, it was always a goal, real estate investor, and, you know, then still be a realtor and do that too, some. But This is the goal.
Grant, you'll appreciate this. When Enrique joined the team, I came over to his house up in Antioch at the time to do headshots.
Took the headshot in my garage.
It was in his garage. Well, we tried the backyard and the light was too bad.
Yeah.
So we went in the garage and then we had to like crop him out because it was just a garage. Like there's just stuff. And so there was a headshot that he used for years.
Yeah, I'm still. It's still kind of.
It's still out there. It's still floating. Yeah, that was in his garage. Yeah.
We need to see this headshot.
Oh, I'll show it to you.
Yeah. Just open up like realtor.com or something. It's probably there.
Our home snap is still there.
Oh, home snap. Oh, is that the home snap?
That's the home snap pic.
That's funny.
It's still there.
All right, Santana. What's yours? When was the click?
Oh man. What's funny is high school. Somebody. It was a friend of mine. Her older brother was in real estate. He was in Atlanta doing a lot of big things. I think he bought an ABA team, minor league basketball team. I mean, he was really doing some big things, and I was interested in what he was doing. So I asked him, how can I get into real estate? His response was, I need you to read this book, and then we can talk. And it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh.
And I kind of got offended because I was like, no, I want to like shadow you. I want to follow you. And so, you know, I kind of pouted at the time. I refused to read the book. So I went to college. Refused to read the book. Every time I come home, I'd see him. I have a chip on my shoulder. Like, you didn't show me how to do real estate, so I'm going to do something else. So I pursued music, moved to Nashville, started touring, traveled all over the United States, did some relief work overseas, got into education, got married, had kids, and I was still like, man, I don't want to read this book. But eventually I read this book. It stayed with me that long. And it was one of those things that just pulled.
You don't hold on to anything.
Not at all.
Never. Nothing.
Just a little bit. This one thing I held on to. And I finally got into the book and I was like, just like Enrique, it was like, wow, like all this information I haven't known my whole life. I should have known this. Like this could have took me a little bit further. So I started reading a little bit more. What's his name? The other guy, he's out here in Cool Springs. The Budget. He's Dave Ramsey. Yeah. So I studied a little bit of him. Yeah. It was a little difficult to follow, but again, like all this information, I started absorbing it.
The Budget guy, though, by the way, I'm hung up on that for a second.
The Budget guy.
The Budget guy.
I mean, pretty much like.
No, I mean you're not wrong. I like saying it like that.
Yeah. So. Like I just eventually got bored one day, picked up an online course, real estate, and I was teaching, I was coaching soccer at the time, and I was trying to do the dad thing. So I had little time. Every minute I had, I would go home, be with the family, then stay up late, read, study. And I was like, I'm committed. And something about my personality, I have an obsessive personality. So if I get into something, I just want to like totally immerse myself in it. So I immersed myself in real estate, got my license, passed it, and joined during COVID. So I really didn't know what to do. I was lost. I had no idea. Didn't know who to talk to. Again, like I said, my first open house was when Kobe's helicopter went down. And I was like, man, this is already starting off on a bad note. Like, right. I mean, so I wasn't sure. Like, I wasn't sure what to do, but I knew in my heart I was committed to whatever, I had to do. And so I found another guy. He's a fellow agent, and he's over, I don't know if I should say the company.
It doesn't matter.
Well, he's at Compass.
Okay.
And good guy, great guy. One of my good friends. I mean, I dare to call him one of my best friends in real estate. Kind of took me under his wing, told me how to do some, calls, reach out to people your sphere, your circle, all these terms that you learn in real estate. Right. And eventually it started working. Like, first year was a dud. Second year, it took off. Did about 25 transactions. And then from there, it was just like, man, I could do this. And I was part-time. And so to me, that was the moment where I was like, you know what? And then this whole development came about after those transactions. I was like, man, this, like, one thing is bringing me to new opportunities. So again, I don't know if it was ever a click, but I think when I actually read that book, I followed directions,
Yeah.
like that's when opportunities started happening.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the same way it is now. Like, you know, we just finished this development. Something greater has to happen. Like, we just can't stay stagnant. We can't stay on the same level. Like, the quality of life has to increase every single year. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what that looks like, but
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's some things you just know. You feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play the cash flow game?
Yeah, I play with the kids.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I used to play it. We had the computer version.
Had to give me the
Yeah. And I actually need to play that with my kids because I haven't done that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a
Good
one to play with the
parenting
kids.
tip. Play that game with your kids. If there was one thing you would change about the journey, I would guess that your thing you would possibly change is reading the book sooner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I probably would have read it. Then I think I would have had access to him because he recently passed away. So, and he was a young guy, like late 40s.
Wow.
Yeah. So he got to see me do this development. And then I think the last interaction we had was on Facebook. He was like, congrats. Like, I see you doing your thing. To me, it was kind of like one of those moments you're like, wow, like full circle. Like, I mean, my inspiration. And that's, you know, when you get on Facebook, it's like you don't care about all the likes, but it's like when you see that one person like your stuff, it means the world to you.
Yeah.
So that one like, it kind of meant everything to me. It inspired me. So, yeah.
That's right.
Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, yeah, I would just started earlier. But I mean, I guess, but like hindsight is always 20/20. And, you know, even though if you say, like people say, if I knew what I knew now, you know, but I think even if you knew what you knew now, you would find other ways to make other mistakes and do other things differently. And, you know, and still kind of put you to a certain point. And that's kind of the way life works. But I definitely, I would start earlier. I think the time that I jumped out to go full time in real estate, when we had that conversation, me and you at Cheddar's, and the way you broke it down, like it really helped me decide to make the decision. I knew like I needed to go do this. But then I still went home, went on Indeed to start looking for jobs. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm hearing your voice. You would say that I'm hearing this other voice like, man, we just go ahead and do this. Just go, you know. And I went ahead and just figured it out. You were like, how many deals you have in the pipeline? So I got one closing next week, and then I got another one that's under contract. It's like, okay, so you got 2 deals. It's like, work on getting the next 2 or 3, and then you're off to race. So you're good.
Yeah. Get your ass in gear. 90-day business, right?
Yeah,
90-day business.
90-day business. Make it happen. I was like, all right, fine, forget
Can
it.
you make that $10,000 last 90 days?
And then you said, hey, and if anything, you know, you get to just go ahead, then go get a job.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you rolled the dice, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so proud of you guys. I know it was a crazy journey building that house, but I'm glad that you guys, I'm sure, learned invaluable lessons that you'll carry forward. I think your story is inspiring to so many because you guys are, frankly, all 3 of us are examples of like coming from nothing and building something. And I think one of the things that I've always liked is like, sure, we reap the benefits of our work, right? But the heart of it isn't for our gain necessarily. The heart of it for me is the legacy for my kids.
Yeah.
You're playing cash flow games with your kids so that they don't have to learn the lessons that you had to learn the way that you had to learn it.
Right.
They can go into the world with the knowledge that you picked up at 36 ish, mid 30s, whatever. And I know if anybody's watching this, they're like 36. Y'all are both like 22. What are you talking about? But I love watching what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do next. Do you have any advice for our listeners who are considering entering the real estate market, either individually or as a partnership, whether as an agent or as a developer?
Don't.
Oh gosh, that was bad advice.
It's oversaturated. No, I'm just playing.
I would say,
oh man, abundance mindset, bro.
Yeah, but yes, abundance mindset. Have abundance mindset. You know, believe that you can do it. You know, set a goal. You know, hold yourself accountable, and then you can. For people who want to get into investing side of it, I mean, you can do analysis paralysis all day, and you can read as many books as you want, listen to many podcasts as you want, but eventually you got to jump out the plane and build a parachute while you're falling. So, that's That's the thing that I kind of always say. That's what I did when I jumped out to go full time in real estate. So sometimes you just got to go do it that way. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna do everything all the way right. You're just not going to. I'm still gonna, as much as I've learned, I'm still gonna make mistakes, and I still am. You know.
Yeah.
So I would say that don't be a perfectionist when it comes to it, and just go out there and do it. You'll learn more when you do than by, analyzing and reading and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, somebody today, I was at an engagement earlier, and this guy spoke about motion versus action. And people who are in motion feel like they're taking action. So if you get to that point where you just feel like you're stuck, you're probably just in motion. And motion would be defined as something like that, where you're looking at the spreadsheets and running the numbers and evaluating the deal and this and that and the other thing. But the action is buying the freaking land, acquiring the actual money, hiring the contractors, doing the work. So if anybody's out there listening to or feeling stuck, then you're probably in motion. Just pay attention to motion versus action. That's a great point. Great point.
And I would definitely just follow that up with saying this is a people industry. Know people, get to know people.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Build relationships, and every relationship is important. You may not see it immediately. I mean, down the road, you may realize it may come to full circle, but everyone is important. There's no small person in this business. There's no bigger person in this business. We're all trying to, accomplish the same goals. So I would just say build relationships and don't burn bridges.
Network. That's right.
Yeah.
It's network. Take that coffee, that coffee date. Take that lunch date from that person who wants to talk to you about real estate. Go to these meetups. Just put yourself out. Don't be one of these secret agents. You just can't. You can't win like that.
Untouchable. Yeah.
And you're not going to combat that with a name tag. I'm just saying.
You're not.
Go meet people. People love people, right?
Right.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being on the podcast. I think you guys are crushing it. Hopefully people take your advice and learn your lessons, because you guys have a lot of value to give. Where can people find you guys online?
You can find me at my website, EnriqueSelman.com. You can also find me on all of my socials, Enrique Selman, and then step Instagram. Instagram is dose_Rique. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Any rooftop, you could probably find them too.
Yeah, you can find me out. You find me out in these streets. I'm outside. You can find me.
Any rooftop. He's come up though. He didn't used to be on rooftops all the time.
No, I didn't. It's come a long way.
What is my Instagram handle? I have two. So I just started a Santana Sold It Instagram page. I have like 30 followers. Please be one.
Don't be 31.
Please be 31. I need 30. I'm going for 40 by the end of the month. But Santana_Realtor is my original Instagram. Santana Omega Jones is my Facebook. Email me, santana@santanaj.com. And that's pretty much it. You can probably Google Santana Omega Jones. There's not that many of us. So SantanaSoldIt.com.
Perfect.
Yep.
Love it. Thank you guys. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Hey, if you're a first-time listener, you can find us all over the place. YouTube, Spotify, all the places. Come click subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, it's Swy. Thank you for joining us this week, and we hope you got some useful information and we made your day a little bit better. If you're interested in joining the movement of realtors getting their time and life back, check us out at joinsimpliHome.com on the browser, at simpliHome on socials, or in the description. See you next week.